Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm Bill Hannon, the host tonight, and my co-host is Josie Way. Tonight we're talking with Bob Baxter, who has experience in many different modalities, and we also talk about a lot of different topics. So I would suggest to you, set your DVR. This way, if there's something that you hear and you miss, you'll be able to come back and watch it again. So good evening, Robert. How are you?
Good evening, Bill. I'm doing good. Just good. It's good to see you guys.
Yes.
It's been
a while.
A long time.
A long time.
That's right.
It could have been 12 years ago.
Wow.
Or
What was you over
No, it's
in-
not
was
quite
years.
that.
Was
I
it?
remember going out to dinner afterwards. Wasn't quite that long ago.
It was 8 years.
Yes, that
something
sounds
like
right.
That sounds like about right.
But that was a while.
So what's going on? I know you're always interested in different modalities.
Yeah.
It's always a
What are
pleasure
you
talking
still
with you.
doing and what's new?
What's new and what I'm still doing and where I came from and some of that. I had a lot is new, and I've learned so much even in the last couple of years, especially since I've seen you all last. And I've been doing a lot of these techniques and teaching and practicing, and I use everything on myself. I need what all I have, because it's my own way of finding what works for me and also what works for everybody. So my goal is to be able to help humanity in every type of walk of life, every color, any human on the planet, to help themselves and to help them heal themselves using just their hands. And so there's so much that we can do with this, and I love that after watching so much happen in the last 35 years or so, when we started with Swedish massage, and Bruno would come out and you'd get your massage and you'd go slap, 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 and that was where the massaging started. And so I've spent a good deal of my years in the massage industry, and working with massage therapists with my products and things like that. So the things that have transpired through that time have just taught me to actually simplify what I've learned so that I can pass it on quickly to others to help themselves.
Sure.
Because there's so much information, and there's so many methods and modalities to use, and they're all great. They're all wonderful.
And one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past, having to do with, it's not just the modality, it's the consistency of using that modality. It's like, you're talking about Bruno coming out and slapping you, and that's your massage type of thing, where we've evolved to different forms of tapping.
Right.
But just by tapping when you need it may help a little bit, but the best thing is, you told me that every morning when you get up,
Well,
looking in the mirror.
Here's what I found, is that we do need to help to put ourselves back into a center that is a good center where we can come from before we can have our intentions and things like that. But I found with tapping, and for those who don't know about tapping, is that tapping is simply tapping on points on the face and around the face, and I'll show that in a second. But I found that a lot of people have taken, it's a EFT tapping, it's emotional freedom technique, and it was brought about by Gary Craig, I think maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago or something like that. And what's interesting now is when you go to Gary's website, emofree.com, emofree.com, he doesn't tap anymore.
Oh.
He calls upon the inner therapist or the spirit within. And I'll explain how simple that is to do. But everybody's been going and taking, I've talked to so many people that have taken a tapping class or learned from somebody, and they'll go to the EFT World Summit and buy all the CDs, and they're master teachers and master practitioners. And so people go away from that, but nobody's tapping. Not many.
Right.
Not many. You have to almost make it a habit. So you were talking about making it something that you're doing. Stick with it. Stick with the practice that you're learning and dive a little deeper into it. But utilize it, what you've learned. Don't go on to the next one and the next one.
Right.
And that's where we start getting confused.
Right.
But what I came up with tapping was that there's 9 points, top of the head and the eyebrow, the center of the brow,
Right.
the eyebrow point on either side of the face. So your eyebrow point here at the eye,
Right eye.
and then outside of the eye, and tapping below the eye and below the nose, below the lower lip, on the collarbone, and then you can cross your hand over about the 4th rib down, or use your knuckles to tap.
Yep, okay.
So 9 points, and that's all you need to do. What I found was that most people are confused about, what do I say? How do I get into that? Because the teachers are teaching all about all kinds of a full boat to try to get to it. So what I did was I just came up with, which is what I've been doing for years, is all you have to do is tap 26 times on each of these points without saying anything, because it's already there. Whatever you got angry about somebody cutting you off at the highway,
Sure,
whatever it is. So don't say anything, just tap, and it takes less than a minute
Right.
to tap 26 times on each of the points.
Right.
It will reset your day.
A mini meditation. A mini meditation.
It's not even a meditation. I can drive in my car and tapping,
I look at it as if you're going downstairs and you open your fuse box and you're just setting the circuits, boom,
Right.
boom, boom, sequence after one after the other, and everything just comes into place.
Well, and here's what I wanted to talk about too, is like, what is energy? What is chi? What is that we all refer to as energy? And I found, even more recently, that energy can be broken down into a simple 5, and I call it the high 5 of a system here. And I'll show that in a sec. But it is, energy is flowing always through our body. There is something animating our force. And we may call that source, or the creator of the universe, or all that is, or whatever it is we want to call it. But in essence, it is a creation principle. It is a creation force. Nothing exists without it. And our biggest gift that we have, well, a couple of them, one is that it flows through us all the time. It animates our body, mind, and spirit. It's a connection to spirit. And that it's real. It's just right here. And the other is, it flows through us. It flows through the blood. It flows through the meridians. It flows, it flows, it flows. And
There's nowhere it isn't.
It's a cycle. There's nowhere it isn't. And what's really interesting, if we consciously take a breath, that's the gift of the Creator in that second. And so to know that and just go, wow, that's a healing force right there. That's pretty simple. And so understanding breath, because I just thought about this the other day. No one ever teaches us how to breathe. They teach us everything else. They teach us how to walk. They teach us how to crawl. They teach us how to do this stuff. But you pop out and you're breathing. Okay, good, done. You know. But there's so much more to breath. And it's how to use breath. And what does it do for us? It animates us. So when my studies were with tapping, which is a meridian-based art form. And each time that you're tapping, it's like a piezoelectric shock on your barbecue grill. Spark, 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 spark. And that goes right through the pathways, and it comes to the area of the lower frequency. And that spark of light brings that low vibration up to a high vibration. It's like, bringing a candle into a dark room. Darkness goes away. But I'll segue back to this in a second. But what flows through us is this force, and it gives us life. And I came up with an acronym for life, L-I-F-E. And I call it love in flow evermore. Simple. That's it.
I like it.
Because we know it's about love, And that's actually one of the forces, one of the aspects of energy.
Right.
So energy, I found with got EFT this is what I teach on my website is called thewellnessfactor.org.
Okay.
F-A-C-T-O-R, thewellnessfactor.org. And you can get the free PDF and you can learn all this stuff, and I'll be doing 1 hour free classes, and then I'll teach a more in-depth one on a Zoom type thing.
Sure.
So what I found with the profound art that I've studied for over 30 years and practiced and taught is called Jin Shin Jitsu. J-I-N, Shin, S-H-I-N, Jitsu, J-Y-T-S-U. And it is the oldest recorded healing art in the world. It was before Moses. Passed down by families because they knew energy, they knew flow.
Right.
It's very ancient. And you use your hands as jumper cables rather than using needles to touch
That's
points.
right, meridian points.
You're using your hands. So if I want to open my stomach meridian, and I've got belly ache or something like this, or I call this one, I like this one, is like at Thanksgiving. I eat too much, and I get full, but there's so many more good pies.
Yes, right. That's right.
And so what I do at the end of that is I put a couple of fingers right here under my eye, under my left eye, let's say.
Yeah.
And then I take my other hand and I put it in the small of my back, about where your kidney is, just in the center. You can't do it wrong. And I just hang out here, for maybe 3 minutes or so.
Right.
This accesses the stomach meridian. The stomach meridian then opens up the stomach, and in about 4 or 5 minutes, I feel that my stomach opens up and it kind of gurgles and it does good. And then I can eat more pie.
Right.
It's wonderful.
That's
so
right.
I'm not, I maybe don't live the healthiest as I should. That's why I need these tools. So when I have root beer and ho-hos and ding-dongs, one of my fallbacks, then I can fix it. So it kind of keeps me going. So when the stomach meridian gets blocked, it's a full belly, but that's pretty physical. But when the stomach meridian gets blocked, it comes from feelings of worry and doubt. So when we're worried, and I call worry a prayer for what we don't want to have happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we focus that out, our intentions, put it out, right?
Right. The best way to attract something to you, no matter how positive or negative, is to fear it.
We're attractors.
Right. And you fear it, and the thing that you fear is just happened because you attracted it to you.
And then it becomes a practice and a lesson. If you can figure it out, then you go, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Right.
But so what this brought me to in Jin Shin, there's 5 organ meridian sets. The stomach and the spleen, they work together. The kidney and the bladder, liver and the gallbladder energy, the lung and large intestine, and the heart and small intestine.
Right.
So that's the 5.
Right.
Right? 5 is a very significant number in that, and I'll show that. Let me show what this means. So this.
Well, we have to wait for Kathy to get back to the center camera.
That's fine. I just want to talk about this first.
Yeah.
So the 5 is the 5-pointed star.
Right.
5 are the 5 senses. The 5 senses are what we're sensing right now: sight, sound, touch, taste. So we're feeling those. That's how we are sensing the present moment. Present moment isn't an intellectual thing.
Right.
It's something that's present, and this is how we sense it. Sure, we can pick up with spirit being in the present moment, but viscerally, it's all about this, which is telling the body all about what to do next. So, but the 5 organ meridians all have, a planet attachment. They have an astrological attachment. They all fit with the Kabbalah.
So many different
Tarot,
levels.
the whole thing. But in essence, what they are, and this is what's so simple about it, the stomach and the spleen are about trust and faith. The kidney and the bladder are about your gentleness, gentleness to self, gentleness to others. And the liver and the gallbladder are about kindness.
Yes.
So kindness to self and
Kindness to self, right.
others. So
Right.
it's a two-way dance that we want to be, that we want to own, especially in the moment. And then the lung and large intestine is about courage. So it's this stance. It's the stance, not here where I'm protecting my heart and we're all doing this all day long, which is my other technique about stretching this stuff out.
Right.
And then the heart and small intestine
Right.
is about love and joy.
Right.
So we have the high five.
Sure.
So this is the high five.
Sure.
You know, here we'll show it there.
Yeah.
And the high five is trust, gentleness, kindness, courage, and love. And that is what animates us. That is energy. That is chi. That is from source. And that's the vibration and the frequency that it lives. What takes us off track is the low five.
Oh,
So worry and doubt, we
Right.
talked about, they compromise the flow,
right.
the flow
So that's
of life.
that's the bottom hand?
Yeah, that's the one down here. So you can get this on my website too. And the bottom hand here is, I call it the dark force.
Ah,
You know, it's not who we are. Who we truly are is the high five.
Right.
Who we're not is the low five.
okay.
And that this low five is worry and doubt, fear, anger, and feelings of powerlessness. And grief and sadness compromise the lung and large intestine,
Sure.
the courage. So sad, grieving over just that energy that pulls us down.
Right.
The heart and small intestine is compromised by hate and impatience. And it's the same frequency as it's better to love peace than to hate war,
That's right.
right?
That's right. You're right about that. I mean,
It's the energy we're putting out
That's
is
right.
what we're going to get back.
right. That's right. I
And-
mean, it's what you want. It's what you want to draw to yourself. It's what you wish for. You want to manifest. Like you go back to the Woodstock when they
It's my
woke up
days.
when they woke up and it was all rainy out and all that stuff and everybody's saying no rain, and in actuality they should have been saying more sun,
More sun, exactly.
right.
That's
And
exactly right.
that's what they would have manifested.
Yeah,
So-
if you want to get rid of clouds, I do this a lot at the beach.
Yeah.
You know, I envision the sun beaming down. It's melting the clouds and it's coming through, and it works. So I'm a professional cloud mover. Anyway, so but you're right. Our goal is to be healthy and well, or we want peace.
Right.
But the problem is we've got programs running in us that come from our
That's
growing
right.
up
That's right.
Yeah.
that compromise our success.
That's right.
And to get rid of those, the best way I found is tapping. So when you're tapping on something and you're going, God, I'm really, really angry. I'm really upset. I'm so sad. It's terrible that person left me. This is not good. And you're tapping on these points and just kind of talking your way around your sadness, your grief, your anger, or whatever it is. That son of a bitch ran me off the road. You don't want to, but rant and, give it. I've had nuns cuss before when I'm working with them, so everybody is human, is going to
course.
have this low five.
Of course.
Vibing
I
around.
look at the low five right there and I see me and the pinky there with impatience.
And yeah, you're sitting, you're trying to get through traffic.
Yeah.
Well, what that implies is not trusting. You're not trusting that the Creator has you in the right place at the right time, because you're going to miss that wreck
Yeah.
that you're going to
That's
get
right.
to.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Everything's going to work out perfectly. Everybody else is going to be 30 minutes late.
Sure.
It's one of my favorite. So,
Right.
but the tapping helps to, bring more light into yourself,
Right.
into your structure, and it also helps with pain, and it helps with any pain and suffering. As you know, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So when we're working with stretching out shoulder pain, for
Right.
example, you can tap, that'll help. But by moving your hand and working with your shoulder and, it's being your own PT and stretching things and moving. You know, I've gotten some good pops already just by doing this.
Sure.
But what we do is when we come up against pain,
Right.
we stop
Right.
because we're afraid.
Sure.
And we've been taught to stay up away from pain all
Right,
our lives,
right.
right?
No, go
So,
ahead.
so what I work with is go into the pain. You know, don't be afraid of
Right,
the pain.
that's right, that's right. I
You know,
agree.
if you're alive,
100%.
it hasn't killed you yet,
Right,
right?
right.
So
Just an alert system, that's all.
it is, and it's a good one. You
Yes,
know, you want to have
absolutely.
that. The stove
good
is hot.
signal.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
You know, stove is hot, and that and that.
Yeah,
But to then go into the pain, like if you're stretching out a shoulder and you've got a problem,
Right.
then you can move towards it. It's kind of like yoga, where you come up to the edge,
sure.
and you come up to that edge, and you just move towards it, let it do its thing, move a little more,
Sure.
and let it do its thing,
Sure, sure.
and pretty soon your range of motion. So there's another one I teach is what I created is called a quantum stretch. Here, you can try this out. Just put your arms straight out like this, and lock your elbows straight. You can bring them off the ground. Engage your fingers, okay? And y'all can do this at home too. And now, make your fingers wide. Now bring them up as far as you can, like you're saying stop. I mean, all the way. So now you can feel a little something in your hands, right?
Right, and the wrist too.
In the wrist.
Forearm.
So that's the connective tissue, the tissues that's around the muscles, ligaments, and the tendons. And it's stretching right now because it's elastin plastin. It's all just gooey stuff that's starting to move.
Sure.
It takes 5 to 10 seconds
I
for
feel
that
it-
tissue
I feel it.
to start to move. Now, if you add a little movement to that, let's say you turn it around, straight arms, lock your elbows straight. There you go. And then if you turn this around, notice what you feel in your arms here.
Yeah,
New stuff. That's because we're doing this all the time. So it takes 10 seconds for the tissue to start to move.
okay.
And now bring your hands back down. Now you have more space in the tissues
Sure.
in your body
Feels lighter.
so that you can get
My
blood
my arms feel
lighter.
lighter.
So when
That
you,
must be really good for arthritis.
it's great. Any movement is key.
Okay, so what we should do now, we're
Okay.
past the 8-minute mark, and so we're counting
Of
down.
course.
I'd like you to give us
A quickie
just
on this.
Well, not just this. Let's go and review your website or your.
Okay.
Spell it out again.
That is, here you go, and I'll show you a picture with it. Oh, you can't see it from there. It is called, no, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. It's thewellnessfactor.org.
Yep. Okay.
Thewellnessfactor.org.
Sure.
Okay, so that's my main website for teaching and talking about all these
I still feel
wonderful
it in my
things.
arms. Really light.
When you start
Wow.
doing this and you start bringing your own hands in, if I
Yeah.
could stand up, I take up a lot of space. But when you've got your hands out here
Mm-hmm.
and you start to move, I'm going to come your way. And I start to bring this back here, and I start to bring this, and I open up the pectoral muscles, and I pull this back and pull my chin up. I'm stretching everything in the front of my body, and I'm just pulling that all out, and that way I can get out of shoulder pain.
Yep.
And I'm being my own PT, and you can do this. I'm doing this in a chair. I'm just moving this, and it's slow. Remember, you're pulling on stuff, and you're finding that spot, and you're opening that up. So that opens up a whole lot. So I have
Opens
upper
the
body
chest.
and lower body, and all of this stuff that's in
Sure.
front of us is this. And as we get older, you know, what this tapping does, everybody will love this. What this tapping does is it makes you younger by stretching, by getting more oxygen, by tapping and getting rid of old stuff. You get younger, you know, so that's what the important thing is.
Great.
So then with my other website, my other company is called Helios Health Products.
Right.
So it's Helios, the Greek god of the sun,
Sun,
Helios,
right.
healthproducts.com. And that's where I make topical, all-natural oils for pain relief, skin
Right.
conditions,
Right.
soaking salts, and I provide a lot to a lot of our spas around, gurneys and Foxwoods and Norwich Inn and those guys, and everyday people
Right. And
therapists.
other stores such as Belmont Market.
Yeah,
and
Belmont Market and the Purple Cow.
Purple Cow.
They have carry the products, and there's stores all over the country. But the latest one I came up with this last
Phenomenal.
year is the most amazing thing ever. This is a topical pain relief product that is the strongest and best on the planet.
Yeah.
And I know that.
I have no doubt.
So what I did was I took my regular formula,
The Helios
my
formula.
regular Helios formula, which is 38% essential oil of the body.
And
the
you won't
bottle.
find products like that on the market.
No, not with that much. So it's peppermint, nutmeg, clove, lavender, black pepper, copaiba balsam, in an organic sunflower base and MCT or fractionated coconut oil.
Right.
And so it's 100% natural,
Yeah.
100 years shelf life, it lasts forever. And you can use it for arthritis, neuropathy, gout, post-surgery.
I felt it after my wrist surgery. That,
You just spray a little on, and
rub
it
it in.
smells great too.
yeah, it's
You
fantastic.
can use it for opening the
Aromatherapy,
sinuses,
Right.
pulling that up. But for what I did with this was this year we added an inordinate amount of what I think is therapeutic, CBD,
Right.
no THC.
Right.
We use an isolate.
You say
And-
inordinate, but the thing is that, I mean, it's so concentrated.
It's really powerful. So this is with 2,500 or 5,000 milligrams of CBD, but it's off the chart. And check that out. And then, as we're closing here, you can check out this bracelet that I have, and we call it a biofield bracelet. It will.
How does that work?
It works because there's germanium, titanium, and negative ions in the rubber. Once it gets into your electric field, it goes through your body, and it gets all the cells to separate and flow normally, thus getting through the capillaries single file.
Right.
Whereas EMF, our cell phones and all
Sure.
of that electrosmog causes the red blood cells to clump together and move like a mat, and they can't get single file. So this will cure vertigo in most cases in 15 minutes. And so
Wow.
that's a big one. Biofield
big one.
bracelet. Yeah, it's so great to help so many people with that bracelet and animals.
Well, when you had shown me this product right here, and I rubbed it into my wrist that night, and then you gave me this, and the large is the one you had,
Yeah,
and it fit me. So, I mean, it was tight, but it fit.
yeah.
And the next morning when I woke up, I felt no discomfort at all in my wrist. And I have maintained that no discomfort, and it's always bothered me before,
And it's all about movement. It gets things to move. Whatever we can do to get something to move. And I call a lot of times the little things that we can do as a pattern interrupt.
Right.
Because we get in a loop,
Right.
whether it be our emotional loop, we're just stuck in it. And so tapping or standing up and down and jumping around and going around in circles changes everything. Go for a walk outside, whatever.
Well, all right, so you just threw a few things out there. We have less than a minute. Why don't
Okay.
you just give me a quick, what's the best thing you can do to get your day off right?
The best thing you can do to get your day off right, and this is about prayer, and I've learned this recently, and I got this from Gary Craig, he's taught me so much. But the best thing to do in the morning is to put a YouTube video on
YouTube.
of puppies and babies. Okay? You can do kittens and babies, whatever it is,
Right.
something really cute.
Right.
Because when you watch that, you cannot help but be going into your heart.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
it's all about. It's the love of the heart, and
Right frame of mind.
that sets it up. And that's the thing I found that we all pray.
Right.
God, if I won't do that again if you really help me out of this one, right?
Yeah.
God, would you help me get out of this hole?
Yeah,
Would you help my grandma?
Yeah.
Whatever. Would you, send your loving grace? And